crisis. First, it will be first to Mrs. Ackerman. How do you view the application of the Endangered Species Act? Has its application to California's water delivery system been properly applied by the courts and the Department of Interior?
How do I view that? That particular piece of legislation, the Endangered Species Act, in this case particularly, is putting animals, in this case a little fish, it's pitting that little fish against the people of this state. That fish is stopping the delivery of water that is much needed not only in Southern California, but is also desperately needed in Northern California. We, the people on the State Water Project, are limited as to when we can pump water. We can only pump, I believe it's June, July, and August, and that is not when the water flows. We have a contract with the State Water Project to receive 1.2 million acre-feet of water per year. This year, we were down to 300,000 acre-feet of water, so you can see what the cutback is. There is a drought, a natural drought in this state. We're in the third year, but it's not one of the worst droughts we've ever had. This drought has really been created by this act because the judge was following the Endangered Species Act, which we need to have relief from that in this particular situation, and I know that there are legislators working on that as we speak here tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Norrie.
California has plenty of water, it's just where the people aren't, which is why we have this vast system, which would be the envy even of the ancient Roman Empire, to transport water. The system is based entirely on user fees. If you don't need the water, you don't pay for it. People in Eureka pay a different rate than people down here in Southern California. Part of our problem is in water storage. Currently, the Metropolitan Water District, which imports the water from the Colorado River, has 7 times the storage capacity as the State Water Project, which brings it down from Northern California. We need to expand storage in the State Water Project. There are a number of environmental hang-ups, one having to do with the delta smelt and some other issues. The failure to build the peripheral canal back in the 1980s because the Bay Area residents were all opposed to it. They figured it was a way of Southern California to divert their water. But we were paying for the canal, and that peripheral canal will regulate the water in the delta to keep it healthy and protect some of those endangered species. I think it has a different name now. We keep changing names in government so people will buy what they wouldn't buy before, but we need somehow to complete that Trans-Delta facility. We also have to look at the crops that we grow. Are we growing the most efficient crops? Some water for agriculture is heavily subsidized, and certainly we value water, we value agriculture in California, and in some cases subsidizing water might be part of that system. But we need to grow crops where they really belong and grow the most efficient crops for the water availability in that area in the San Joaquin Valley. Thanks.
Mr. Fair.
Okay, can you repeat the questions now?
Sure. How would you view the application of the Endangered Species Act? Has its application to California's water delivery system been properly applied by the courts and the Department of Interior?
Okay. And they gave me some questions earlier, and I had a chance to look at this. But in general, right, I think if you get down to it, should the state aggressively pursue a federal government to grant waivers for the Endangered Species Act? Yes, I should if they grant waivers. I've looked at this water thing too, and I'm no expert on water, but I sort of know that there's a ton of acre feet, right, being flushed out in the Pacific Ocean up north, right? They're trying to get these salmon runs going. A lot of it's going there, and a lot of it's going for the delta smelt, okay? And I don't really necessarily think, we keep using the word drought down here. If you look at a 15-year period, right, I do not believe we're in any kind of out-of-cycle kind of situation. If you go historically, I think it's pretty close to where we end up every year. If you take a historical look at that. If we keep saying drought, oh, we haven't had any rain in 3 years. There's been a lot of times we've had any rain in 3 years. Now, I also say I supported, right, in 1998 there was a $1.7 billion water management bond, right, that failed in the Senate, right, for inclusion on the November 1998 ballot. Okay, so the 1998 $1.7 billion water management bond, right, would have provided funding for stage 1 of the Cal Fed Bay, the Delta program, included funding funding for groundwater storage, water recycling facilities, water conservation facilities, flood control, and it also should have had some funding in there for feasibility studies and off-stream surface storage. So once again, the problem was noted, right, and it could have been taken care of in 1998, and it'd be nice if we all had water today. But I think the California legislature failed in 1998 to get the ball rolling. And so here we sit in California, and we don't have any water down here. It's just a basic function of government, and that's why I'm here. Basic functions of government have been unmet for so many years. You know, that's why I'm up here today. Thanks.
Just for clarification, Mr. Fair is looking at a questionnaire that was for next week's endorsing convention. It has very little bearing on what's going on tonight. We just want to let everyone know. The candidates have not seen the questions that I'm asking tonight. Mr. Norby, a follow-up to the prior question. If as a member of the legislature, would you vote for an act that's in favor of mandatory conservation laws and regulations on residences and businesses that regulate such things as when they can water their lawns?
I would not vote for such a thing in the legislature, no. Now, you may have spot situations like, say, Santa Barbara had 20 years ago or so, where they just didn't have the water to do it. Most water regulations are done at the local level by the local water districts. The Metropolitan Water District, the State Water Project, are delivery systems for local districts. LA has DWP, which is a whole separate operation, almost a separate country, call it Mulholland Land, or Chinatown, as Jack Nicholson called it. But I don't think the legislature really has a role in doing that. The legislature has a role in ensuring quality water and a sufficient supply of water, and I don't see it getting into that kind of micromanagement.
Mr. Mayor.
My answer is also a no. I wouldn't think that the legislature should get into individual districts. There are so many districts in California and so many boards, right? And it's not a very efficient system. In Yorba Linda, of all things, I'm just a regular guy. So what do? I take my kids on a tour of the Yorba Linda Water District, right? Only to find out that that's not even my water district because I live on the other side of Valencia. I go through the whole complete thing and they go, where do you live? And they go, well, you live on like the, which side of Valencia? And by God, I'm not even in the, I'm in Golden State Water District. But it was incredibly interesting, right, how they set that up in Yorba Linda. I seen the first one they made, and it was, it was really old, 1920s or whatever. It was really, really old. And they're still using it. It's amazing to me that something can last like that, a tank can last like that for 80 years. Okay, but and the short answer is no, because there's just so many different water boards and whatever. That's unmanaged.
Thank you. Mrs. Ackerman.
I agree with Supervisor Norby. It's not up to the state to regulate this type of thing, although they try. It is a local issue. Different water districts have different supplies of water, and it's up to them to manage their water. So it is a local decision.